Call the Village of Litchfield Park Community Facilities District special meeting to order. And we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, which will cover us in all of our three meetings tonight. Read by, I believe, Councilor Clare.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, first item of business is approval of the minutes. They're in your packet. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? Is there a motion to adopt the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. The minutes are adopted. Second item of business is the public hearing on the fiscal year 27 Village of Litchfield Park Community Facilities District budget. So I'm going to call the public hearing to order. Is there a staff presentation?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I don't have a formal presentation, but I'll give you just an update on this district. Tonight will be to adopt the final budget of $365,220 for the final payment for this CFD. After I did a complete reconciliation since the formation of the district has collected sufficient funds to make this final payment. So there won't be any need to levy in fiscal year 27. And that leaves about $40,000 in the reserve fund, which I recommend we keep on hand until all the property taxes have been paid and all the lawsuit payments have been paid. And then about this time next year, we'll have a complete reconciliation.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Peterson? All right. Are there any public comments on the budget for the Community Facilities District? All right, seeing none. Public hearing is closed. Excuse me. Is there a motion to adopt resolution V at LP CFD 26-51 final budget for fiscal year 27?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
Question, comment?
Question? Go ahead, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. I want to compliment Paige for digging back into this. If you remember, we refinanced this, Mayor, maybe 14 years ago, I believe it was. And when we did that, we built some extra payments to be applied to this. And this actually, we've always advertised Litchfield as having no property tax, but those of us that live in the villages have always paid a property tax for the CFD that was put together by the developer once upon a time. So this results in on my tax bill, it results in about a 10% decrease in my property taxes, which is significant. So I'm really glad to see this thing go away. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I'm sure all the residents that live in the village will be happy to see their property taxes go down for next year. So it's a good thing. Any other comments or discussion? Not all those in favor of resolution V at LP CFD fiscal year 27 final budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Resolution budget is adopted. We have no need for an executive session, so this meeting is adjourned. This will take us to our regular council meeting agenda. Starts out with council member reports on current events. Councilman James, you have any reports?
Just to Matthew, the new F-150, the police car, very nice, very nice. Looks great. Saw Officer Tokash, yeah, and he was loving life, and yeah, it's really nice, and the way they were able to kind of make the Avondale police blend in was, yeah, he was real happy and it looked nice.
Sir, they're put it to good use.
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Brainerd Watson.
Mayor, I had the opportunity to attend, I'm not sure if we talked about it, I brought it up at the last meeting, but Radiance grand opening across the street. It was very nice, good, well done, beautiful interior, what they've done in the building. I love how they've married the old with the new, and it's really nice. It's also really encouraging to see people who live in the community invest in the community. Also attended the groundbreaking for the Rodolfo project. Really well done. It was a very nice event. Early in the morning, still cool. Glad to see that underway. We now have 2 projects underway there, which is really encouraging. Also attended the Memorial Day celebration, Memorial Day commemoration. It's probably a better word, not celebration. And that was very well done. And thank you for that. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 updates. I had the opportunity to attend the Agua Fria Academies of the Southwest Valley Leadership Alliance meeting. We received an update on the continued success of the Academies model, and they recognized the many community partners that contribute to that success. And they really talked about the importance of their partnerships that they've developed at all levels. They've got industry professionals who are volunteering their time, talking to students. They have organizations that are providing tours and experiences for the students, and employers who are offering internships and real world learning techniques and opportunities. So we also got to hear from a former student who shared how an internship with the City of Goodyear's Public Works Department helped shape her career path. So that was pretty neat. And I also passed out a handout with some statistics on the Southwest. The other thing is that I had the opportunity to tour the Thomas with Brian O'Connor today. And as you know, he's a Litchfield Park resident. It was really great to see the progress that's being made on that project and learn more about the history and the plans for it. One thing that kind of stood out for me is that he said that he was very intentional about through the renovation process of keeping space for the 2 community churches that meet there. And also that the new space is going to include 9 women-owned businesses. So I thought that that was really something worth sharing. Also, he talked about a potential 4th building that could maybe be a restaurant someday. So he really shared his vision for that space, and it was neat to see. So I look forward to celebrating that, the completion.
Thank you. Councilman Frazier.
Not on current events, but maybe future events to the city. I think the special events that we put on in the square, people really look forward to them. I think I've heard a lot of questions already about the 4th of July or the 3rd of July rather. So I know that there's a lot of residents in the city really looking forward to it. You guys did a wonderful job last year. And people are excited to come this year. There's people that missed it last year that want to come. As far as the advertising strategy, I was in my office today in the City of Surprise. I was on the Arizona Republic, and the headline banner, you know, the primary ad, I looked at the picture and said, hey, that looks familiar. And it was for, you know, our Sparkle on the Square. So I know that that was mentioned in Matthew's notes. You know, whatever that strategy is, it's at least getting shared up to the surrounding cities. And I thought it was a good thing to see that on the Arizona Republic's main page.
Thanks. Councilman Clare.
It was a light month this month, but I definitely want to call out the Rodolfo groundbreaking of the 2nd building going into the square. Really well done. Perfect time of day. So it wasn't in the dead of the heat to get out there and get it done. And it's just good to see progress on the square happening. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor, do you have anything you'd like to report on?
Yes, thank you. I want to compliment the staff on the Memorial Day ceremony. I think it was extremely well done, probably one of the best attended ones that we've had yet. Mayor did a great job as presenting. Councilman Allen was there, Councilwoman Brainerd Watson and myself. It was really a nice ceremony. And the groundbreaking, I'm sorry I missed it. This has been one of my favorite projects to see progress with the Rodolfo's. But it's actually quite exciting seeing the staff reports on the applications for tenant improvements in the buildings, the Acamazo building. We're going to have, it looks like, dozens and dozens of new businesses just in those 2 buildings alone. And that'll be exciting to see. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a couple of items I'll tag on with the comments about the Rodolfo groundbreaking. Getting our second building out of 7 started is a big milestone for us. We're still working now on the third building, which is in redesign because of some changes with water policy in the state of Arizona, which impacted the ability to build condos in that project. So, but that project hasn't gone away. It's simply been postponed for redesign within the architectural work and the engineering work. So that's coming along with still an anticipated groundbreaking in December. So that would give us 3 out of 7. The other thing that I wanted to mention was we had a really nice ceremony to celebrate the birthday of the Army and Flag Day, which was they always come together. They're always June 14th. So we do them together. And it was nice to get the Army there and several members from our community. When Councilman Brandon Watson was there to remember the importance of the military in our lives and how they serve us every day and at great risk to themselves and at personal sacrifice. So it's important to remember the birthday of these services. And we do that on a consistent basis. So with that, we'll move to the city manager's report.
Can I take something on to that?
Sure.
I'd really encourage people to go to those flag raisings. There were probably 6 or 7 different Blue Star and Gold Star families represented. And one gal who I was talking to who's has a child who's she is a Gold Star because of her child, had generations of women and men who served in the military. You know, and it's such an important part of our community. I really would encourage people to go and like to see us reach out to the elementary school once we're back in session and see if we can get, the student council or, maybe the 8th grade class, if they still do civics, whatever it is. But I think it's important we put more emphasis on that.
It is a good event. And we also had, I don't know, for anybody who may be old enough to remember, Rosie the Riveters. We had representatives from Rosie the Riveters who they pretty much come to every one of our flag raising ceremonies. And it's always nice to see them. They participate in the ceremony and in the Pledge of Allegiance. And it's nice to see people remember some of the history of our country that was very, very important, generations ago. So
Can I add on to that for one more?
sure, go ahead.
And want to thank Yosha for getting a flyover set up with Luke to be able to show during the event that was happening.
Well, for Memorial Day, Memorial Day was really good. They were a little off on timing, but it was worth waiting for them. It was quite a show when it came over, and made a turn right above our crowd, and it was pretty low altitude. So it was it was impressive. Okay, so now we'll go on to the city manager's report. There's reports in your packet. The city manager has no voice tonight, so we're not going to stress him too much. If you have any questions that we need to talk about tonight at the meeting, we'll do that. If not, see the city manager and you can discuss them before he goes on vacation. Any questions from council? No. All right, then we will go to this meeting's call to the community. It's an opportunity for citizens who would like to address the council on a non-agenda item. Since it is not on the agenda, there can be no response or comment to it unless it meets some very narrow exceptions. We have one request to speak that I'm aware of from Carter Wilson. Mr. Wilson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council. I simply would like to inquire as to the status of trimming of the palms along Litchfield Road. They're really looking shaggy and they're starting to seed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do you mind speaking on that?
We'll make an exception and tell you what the schedule is because I'm interested in it too.
Great.
Mayor, Council, I'm Kevin Hamilton, the new Public Grounds Superintendent. We just went and had our date palms pruned. You may have seen that palm pruning happening in the last 2 weeks. Our contractor's providing me an updated schedule here tomorrow when they'd like to start pruning the Mexican fan palms. So new species, they're following suit. we were looking to do them in continuation. Just I think the short week is what missed our continuation.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, takes us to our presentation section. Ms. Adams, do you want to present our new employees to us? Introduce.
Good
the
evening,
employees.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Our two new employees, Kevin, come on back up, Kevin Hamilton, our ground superintendent, and Chris Scott, our facilities manager.
Hi, yeah. So I'm Kevin Hamilton, Public Grounds Superintendent. I have a background in business and agriculture. I came from a municipality previous from this in the city of Peoria, in a very similar role. So I'm just transitioning to a new role here with the city of Litchfield. This is an area where I grew up as a kid. My dad had developed homes in the area, and I hope to move to here in the future. Really love the resort style and the old heritage that the city has. So I'm hoping to maintain that and keep everything that you guys have built. Go.
Welcome, welcome. We appreciate that you're here and ready to get started to pick up the reins of that department. It is one of our largest, most expensive departments, and it is done consciously because our residents demand to have a very nice looking community. So you have a tremendous opportunity, but a tremendous amount of pressure. So we will look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. I'm happy to work with my team. The 25 guys that I manage in the public grounds have nothing but a passion to serve the community, and they take a lot of pride in the work that they do. So we're happy to serve you guys, especially through any requests that we may receive through our new board. So really happy to be here, just taking in requests as they come and serving it the best.
Welcome.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. My name is Chris Scott. I'm the new facilities manager for the city. I've been in maintenance and facilities management for 25 years in the private sector, so new to government work. It's been quite a transition for me. I'm learning a lot, but you know, I'm really happy for the opportunity to work for this great city and the staff of the city, and I want to do the best I can to you know, upgrade whatever we can for these buildings that we have here, restrooms at the parks. Working with Kevin on some painting projects, and just really happy to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're also in a very important role and a new role for us. We have not had a facilities manager, and so oftentimes we have looked at maintenance work on the facilities as a secondary activity, and it's really not. So I'm sure you have a lot of things to get caught up on, and we
Yes.
appreciate the fact that you're here.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Very appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Go on to presentation on the Hilltop Partner Listening Session. Hey, Councilman Allen.
We have a great presentation prepared and the pictures are important. There we are. Great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Earlier this year, I convened a series of 5 listening sessions. You fixed it. That's cool. Would you like me to start again? I'll start again. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Earlier this year, I convened a series of 5 listening sessions with our Hilltop partners. I invited representatives from Agua Fria High School District, Sun Health, the Maricopa County Library District, and the PW Litchfield Heritage Center, and they are here with me tonight. I have Lisa Hegarty, the Executive Director of PW Litchfield Heritage Center. I have John Couture, the Chief Optimization Officer at Sun Health, Jeremy Reeder, our County Librarian, and Tom Huffman, who flew in specially for this, thank you, Tom, the Deputy Superintendent of Operations for Agua Fria. The purpose of these listening sessions was very simple: to better understand the partner experience in working with the city and to identify opportunities to strengthen communication, coordination, and relationships as activity at the Hilltop continues to grow. This evening, I'd like to share what we discussed, what our partners told us, what emerged from those conversations and what we created, why it matters, and where I believe the opportunity lies moving forward. We began with a practical question: how are our partners experiencing working with the city? And the discussion focused on 4 broad areas: project coordination, permitting and review processes, communication and information flow, and community needs and future opportunities. And while each organization had unique experiences with the city, common themes emerged throughout the discussions. Partners consistently expressed a desire to be involved earlier in projects. They indicated that understanding where city projects are in the city pipeline helps them plan accordingly, coordinate their activities, and identify any overlapping issues earlier. They wanted to set clear expectations at the outset of a project. It was very clear that they value consistent communication, and email was identified as an effective tool because it creates a shared record and helps ensure that everyone is working from the same information. Meeting agendas were also viewed as a positive enhancement because they established expectations and help keep discussions focused. They asked for better visibility into project status. They wanted to better understand the status of their plans, their permits, and their requests, and where they were in the review process. That would help them plan their project timelines accordingly and anticipate any potential planning conflicts. We discussed a little bit about technology tracking tools and software, but participants also appreciated the ability and the importance of maintaining personal relationships and direct communication with staff. Another theme was coordination among multiple stakeholders. They explained that sometimes decisions or discussions can occur across high levels of the organization and without all of the parties necessarily being aware within the organization. Strengthening timely information sharing both across organizations and within organizations was viewed as a way to improve project coordination and reduce potential misunderstandings. They valued the importance of proactive communication regarding operational impacts, such as traffic control, access, site restrictions, and construction activities. Advance notice would help organizations adjust their schedules as necessary, communicate with their customers, and minimize disruptions. Finally, there was one suggestion that explored outsourcing additional technical review capacity during periods of high permit volume or for specialized projects as a way to help maintain efficiency as activity continues to increase on the Hilltop. And one thing that the partners called attention to was some of the positive, successful coordination examples that they had had with the city, such as Las Posadas, the initiation of contractor deconfliction meetings, city-led public engagement efforts around public facilities usage, and city support surrounding the library transition. One of the things that I appreciated was that these conversations remained constructive and focused on identifying ways to improve communication and coordination moving forward. As the sessions progressed, the discussion naturally shifted toward broader community priorities. And I think we all began to identify areas where missions and community interests overlap. And those conversations centered around historic preservation, opportunities around historic preservation and community identity, wellness and healthy aging, workforce development and intergenerational mentorship opportunities, community belonging and perceptions of safety. and improved coordination through tools such as a shared community calendar and ongoing communication and working group meetings among organizations. And I think the most unique outcome was discovering how much overlap existed between organizations that on the surface might appear to have very different missions. By the conclusion of the listening sessions, several observations had become clear. First, every organization represented at the table has a vested interest in the success of the Hilltop and the surrounding community. Second, organizations that may not have an opportunity to engage with one another discovered shared interests, complementary goals, and opportunities that extend beyond their individual missions. And most importantly, these conversations created relationship and trust that make future communication, coordination, and problem solving easier and more effective. These conversations ultimately revealed something larger. We began talking about the future of the Hilltop and its importance not only to Litchfield Park, but to the broader West Valley. The Hilltop is so much more than simply a collection of individual projects and organizations. It's emerging as a destination where education, wellness, history, culture, and community intersect. And as these projects transition from the construction phase into operations, everyone recognized the growing need and importance of communication and continued connection between the organizations. So why does that matter? Because the long-term success of the Hilltop will depend not only on the completion of these projects, but on the strength of the relationships and the shared commitment among the organizations that will call the Hilltop home. Building that shared strength is the real opportunity before us. And I intend to continue bringing the right people to the table to sustain the momentum that emerged from these conversations as we work to support the Hilltop and its impact in the broader community. That concludes. There we go. That's what this group looked like, and I was really thrilled about it. That concludes my portion of the presentation. Now, to help illustrate the important work they're doing, I would now like to invite each participant to briefly share an update on their current Hilltop project and the opportunity they see moving forward. Jeremy, would you like to start us off?
Thank you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, it's exciting to be in front of you again. And this project we are so excited for. In my 27 years of public librarianship, I've not seen a partnership set up like this ever. And for us, it's extremely interesting and invigorating to have built-in partners where typically public libraries seeking communities a long time for this level of partnership that we're getting right from the start. So a huge kudos to the council, specifically Councilmember Allen, for setting this up. I've also never been involved in a project where a city council member is interested in knowing how it's going. It's just indicative of what's happening in Litchfield Park, and I'm really excited for it. We're on track for an August 3rd opening. We're very excited for what's happening and what we're going to be able to provide in the library. This library will be set to close on July 18th. So that we can prepare to move in to the facility. We have our book sorter on its way. This is the last library of our libraries that has not had a book sorter. It's very exciting for us. You'll have to come check it out. I'm excited for the simple things that this library is going to provide this community: study rooms. We've needed study rooms here desperately, have not been able to do it. So we're really looking forward to the opportunities in that facility. But again, to highlight the Hilltop partnerships, I'm most excited for the built-in partnerships we have up there to build on and to grow with. And it's going to make our job much, much easier, but also it's going to make for some fantastic programming opportunities. And it's going to make real chances for further development down the road, because we've established these good relationships right from the get-go. So the ability to call up and visit with known partners instead of that awkward period where you're getting to know each other, we've already had that. So it's been a fantastic period of time, and we are very much looking forward. I know our project is probably the most normal of the groups because we already have a relationship with you at Litchfield Park, and we have enjoyed that relationship and value that relationship. So we're maybe the least exciting of the groups that are going to talk to you tonight, but I did want to tell you thank you, and we're looking forward to it and entertaining any questions from council if you have them, or we can do that after.
Thank you, Chairman, so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Lisa, would you come up from the Heritage Center?
Hi, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Lisa Haggerty, Executive Director with the PW Litchfield Heritage Center. And a special thanks to Councilmember Allen for taking on this initiative for these listening sessions. The Heritage Center, of course, was part of this listening session, and along with me was our board president, Bob Field. And I think we both felt that the listening session provided us better insight into each partner's project, their long-term plans. And I think the discussions, particularly at the end, were pretty exciting and allowed us to start envisioning what collaboration between all the partners could look like. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So that was a really wonderful opportunity to become acquainted with everyone. A little bit of an update about what's going on with us. We had our groundbreaking ceremony back in March, and we've had some delay due to circumstances on the Hill with other projects. But I am happy to report that Waltz Construction, our contractor, has begun to mobilize for the project, and that we should be starting work next week. So this is very exciting. It's been a long time coming, something we've been dreaming about for a long time. So what you have up here, if you're not aware, the project has been divided into 2 phases. And so what we're about to embark on is phase 1. And what you have here is an exterior rendering of the Heritage Center after phase 1 is complete. And so the focus at that point in the project is just going to be on the main level of the residence. And it was really the majority of the living space when the Litchfields and the Denny's lived there. I have another slide. I don't know if you'll be able to see very well, but that's kind of gives you an idea of the phases and the floor plans that we're working with. So on the left, you have phase 1, and that will be the focus here starting off. The entry will be on the west side of the building where you see the archway right here. And from there, visitors will enter and wind their way through various galleries. We are preserving the historic room that has the mural that was painted many years ago. It's in wonderful shape. And so we'll be bringing that room back to its historic integrity with all the furnishings. We're going to have 4 times the amount of space that we do now. And we are going to reserve one of the galleries where you see Gallery 8 right over here on the end for programming. We've developed a pretty robust programming schedule, so we want to make sure we've got space to continue to do that. And then also part of that project, it's kind of faded, but to the south end of the building is the outdoor terrace, which will also be a great gathering space. And so we're looking forward to all this space. On the right side, you can see what's going to happen during phase 2. It includes an assembly room and another gallery, gift shop, and so forth. And then on the bottom floor, that bottom right corner drawing depicts what will happen below ground. So that's another piece of phase 2. One happy development is that something that was slated for phase 2 is now going to be included in phase 1. So where you see Gallery 9, which is right here, with the gift shop and the foyer, that we found we're able to renovate that space during the first phase, and that will serve as temporary storage for our collections. Currently, all our collections are stored off-site in 2 storage facilities. So this is going to be tremendous. It'll be so great to have access. The things that we, in our collections will be right there. So again, just a very exciting moment for us. And we're most excited to see new life being brought to the Hill with all the partners that are involved. The Hill, you may be aware, Of course, it was the residents, the retreat for the Litchfields and the Denny's, but it was also a public space. It always was. It has that dual purpose. And Paul Litchfield, if you've read anything about him or some of his writings, he was a believer in combining function with beauty. You know, he said it costs little to make something functional, also beautiful. And I think that's where we're going with the Hilltop. A little bit of an update about the Hilltop itself. You may be aware that Rancho La Loma Hilltop is currently under review for listing on the National Register of Historic Places as a historic district. Our Historic Preservation Committee at the Heritage Center undertook putting together an application for that. Last year, I think it was reviewed at the state level and was forwarded to the national level. And we've had some conversations at the national level to make revisions, and it's been resubmitted, and we should hear any day now what the result will be. And so a historic district, if you're not familiar, is kind of looking at a piece of land as a whole, all the contributing structures. So it's not focusing on one particular building, but you do have the Heritage Center, you have the cottages, you have the bandstand, and you have Sunset Terrace. And all of those things together tell the story of the Hilltop. And those are the most important pieces. The cottage directly east of us is, we were told by SHPO, is considered the most historic since it was the most historically significant since it served as Paul Litchfield's office where he conducted business. It's the least changed. But all of those things together, the bandstand, a huge gathering space, drew thousands of people. You know, it's just really exciting to be able to work towards that designation and work towards what it'll mean. So if we are successful and it becomes a historic district, those historic districts are a huge asset to communities. They're a living link between the past and the present. They're an opportunity to educate, and they're an opportunity for tourism. There are many people that's worked into their travel is wanting to learn about places. So we're very excited and happy to be partnering with all of the partners on the Hilltop.
John, would you come join us?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, esteemed council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to provide a quick update on what's going on with Sun Health. First, I'd like to thank Councilmember Allen for including us in the listening tour. Sun Health truly values and appreciates any opportunity to participate in collaborative efforts around support of the Hilltop and many projects, great projects that are going on there. From a Sun Health perspective, Rancho or La Loma Village, our senior living community in the center of Rancho La Loma, we're constructing a resident gathering space right now. Since my time at Sun Health over the past few years, our residents have been asking us for a space to meet and have parties and events and so forth. There was never really anything bigger than something that could hold 30 residents at one time. So we're about halfway through the construction. We look to have a ribbon cutting later in the summer. We wanted to wait until it's really toasty hot to invite everybody outside. So we look to the month of August for that grand opening, and we know our residents are excited about that. Rancho La Loma, the infrastructure piece, about a year ago, our board approved about $1 million for the sewer connection from our campus up to the Hilltop in support of the school and the other projects. And then about 9 months ago, our boards approved another $6 million for the Litchfield Road South and Denny realignment projects. We ran into a little glitch with the utilities a couple months ago that we're working through. And we understand that that's not going to hold up any of the projects, but we're working as well as we can through those APS requirements. And then finally, many of you may know that the master plan for Rancho La Loma has the campus divided into multiple districts. We have a residential district in the southwest corner of the campus. We have in the south central, we have a health and wellness district. And then in the southeast corner, on the corner of Litchfield and Camelback, we have a commercial district, which is 22 acres. We're pretty excited about that. We believe we've identified a mission-aligned partner that wants to be invested in the campus long-term. We're continuing to vet them, and they have amazing credentials. So we're not going to share the name with you just yet, but as soon as we swipe right, and we've properly vetted, we look forward to introducing them to the city and having them get to know the developer and talk about what we could build on that 22 acres. We look for upscale restaurants and shops. We see the Performing Arts Center specifically and the broader Hilltop is well integrated with our commercial district. We want people to come, have dinner, shop, go to a performance, walk around the Hilltop and enjoy the outdoor environment there. So we're pretty excited about that. So that's what's going on in Sun Hill. Thank you.
Good job.
Tom, he's already ready.
Thank you, Mayor Shove, council members, staff, and the community. Appreciate it. A couple minutes just to talk a little bit about our project up at the Hilltop. First of all, thank you to council member Alan for putting the group together. We've really enjoyed getting a head start on getting to know a little bit about how Sun Health works, our new neighbors at La Loma, our new friends at the library, and our friends at the Heritage Center. So that's been a wonderful experience for us to get to know everybody that we're going to be sharing space with a little bit better. And as we've gone through this listening session, it's also been great developing multiple communication paths with our partners at the city. As our project comes down to the wire, it's important that those relationships have developed over the past couple of years with the city manager, with Keith, with Randy, with Brian. All those people are such an important part of getting our project open and ready to go. So we appreciate that. We're excited about being up on the Hilltop. I first saw the Hilltop, I think 42 years ago, and my wife's family came some 20 years before that. So this is awesome that on July 17th, we plan on moving into a school. We plan on opening that school on August 3rd with about its first 150 students. And then we plan on having the Performing Arts Center open soon after that, around October 2nd, with our first big event up there, the Righteous Brothers performing on October 10th. So we look forward to lots of excitement coming to the Hilltop in the very near future. Thank you.
And that concludes my presentation on the Hilltop listening sessions. I want to just one more time express appreciation to all the partners who committed 5 months to listening and building relationships. Thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you, council and mayor, for giving me the time to present this to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all the effort you put in to bring the partners together. The La Loma Hilltop project, I think, is when everything plays out that's going on in Litchfield Park over the next 10 years, 5 years, the Hilltop project is going to be the most important project for our city. It's going to impact not only our residents, it's going to help drive the completion of Sun Health's project. It is going to impact the entire Southwest Valley in terms of a cultural asset that is consistent with what Paul Litchfield used to use the Hilltop for, how he looked at it, is going to return the Hilltop to prominence, which it's been many, many years of. I could try to think of a polite way of saying there's a tremendous disrepair. It has been it's a significant, tremendous challenge for the city to figure out how could this become sustainable. And the process of bringing all the partners together into this development is an unusual development. You will not find many developments across Arizona, maybe across the United States, where you've got this many different groups of government and private interests, nonprofits, all together in a project that's being coordinated as one cultural amenity. It's a very unusual project. And it's going to produce, I believe, something that is sustainable long-term for our region, which is tremendous. So I want to thank each of the partners for your involvement in it. We're very fortunate that these different dominoes came together at a time when we could literally facilitate everyone being together. But it took a tremendous commitment. And probably the biggest commitment is from Agua Fria's high school and the Agua Fria High School governing board to invest the funds to build the academy and the Hilltop Theater, to build it in a site that really wasn't anything when they committed to it. So Tom, I hope you take back the city's appreciation to the board, because without them, this would not have been possible. So thank you, Councilman Allen, for getting this started. I'm sure that the partners in this will have multiple opportunities to work closely in the future. And the city will do its part in trying to make sure we facilitate good, solid communication and planning. So thank you. Okay. We will move on with our normal agenda now. This is our report section.
Thank you all.
Thank you for calling. The report section. City staff, did we get any requests for any detail on any of these reports that we've done at the meeting? Okay, so in your materials, you have reports, excuse me, reports from Goodyear Fire, the Avondale Police Department, the finance report, communications update, report on the plume, report on capital improvement projects, special project update, and magistrate court. If you end up with any questions from any of that materials, please see city staff, and we'll be happy to get you more detail on anything you need. That brings us, I believe, to the consent agenda, item 7. This is item 7, items A through F. Is there any item on consent that anybody on the council would like to remove from consent for further discussion? If not, is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
For second?
Second.
All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, item 7, A through F, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consent agenda is adopted. Takes us down to our business section. First item is a public hearing on the city budget. So open the public hearing. Is there a staff presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, for your consideration and adoption is the final budget for fiscal year 27. We've had several meetings about this budget, but I just want to give a quick recap. Our budget is balanced. Our ongoing expenditures are covered by our ongoing revenues. And we've had no changes since the tentative budget adoption. Our total budget is $45,354,836. What makes up that 45 million is 14.6 million of general fund operations. That does include contingency fund of 800,000. Debt service budget of 2.6 million, which also includes 800,000 as a placeholder for additional capacity if necessary. 956,755 for our special revenue funds. HERF is 600,000 of that. Our streetlight improvement districts are 251,000, and our court funds are 105,000. Our capital projects fund budget is 27,154,000, and the amount subject to our expenditure limit is just over 25 million. The makeup of our total capital projects budget is about 6.6 million in committed projects, 14.4 in recommended, 275,000 in smaller projects that at the city manager approval level, and about 3.9 million in potential projects. We do have 2 million in capital contingency that does require council approval. However, with our state imposed expenditure limit, that does limit our projects to about 13.2 million unless we receive some one-time revenue that is excluded from this expenditure limit, or if the city decided to issue bonds. We have met our minimum fund balance requirement of 9.6 million. The makeup of that is 7,822,000. That's just reserved to maintain future financial stability, and 1 year of debt payments in the amount of 1.8 million. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Questions, council, on the staff presentation? All right, is there any comment or questions from the public? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We'll go to item B, which is a public hearing on the streetlight improvement district. We have a staff presentation on this, Ms. Peters.
Very brief presentation, Mayor and Council. This is to approve the final budgeted expense for the streetlight improvement districts in the amount of $34,727 for District 1, $173,064 for District 2, and $43,963 for District 3. You'll see in the right-hand column, the tax levy is a little bit less, and that's because the reserve fund was a little higher than in. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? Any questions from the public? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. To bring it to item C on our regular budget, which is a salary range schedule position and position roster for fiscal year 27. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Every year we present to you a salary range schedule, which presents the minimum amount that the city will pay for a position, the mid-range, and the maximum. The one schedule that's included in the packet did have a few mathematical errors in the mid-range. I emailed a corrected version this morning, and it's also sitting on. I passed out a hard copy before the meeting. That doesn't have any impact to any employees or any salaries. It's just a minor correction. And then the position roster. This is just a list of authorized full-time equivalent positions. If there's any change to that, we would bring that back to you for future approval. And that concludes that, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are.
Any questions from council on the salary range or position roster for fiscal year 27?
Mr. Mayor, one quick note. I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't know how to thank our HR director. I can't talk for the work that she's doing. Normally, cities pay a good bit of money for classic comp studies. At least she did ours in the house. And that saves us a lot of money.
Good job,
Yeah, I hope
Lisa.
y'all have that. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, any questions from council or comments? Is there a motion to adopt the salary range schedule and the position roster presented for fiscal year 27?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is resolution 26-612, which is a fee schedule. Ms. Peterson, do you have a presentation on that?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just a verbal presentation. We only have two fee increases this year. One is to take the Recreation Services Program activity fee. It's a one-time fee from $25 to $30. That $25 fee has been in place for many years. So we felt it was time to increase it slightly. And then the billable rates, it just keeps up with the actual cost of employees for their salary and benefits. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Questions from council? If not, then is there a motion to adopt resolution 26-612, which is the fiscal year 27 fee schedule?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excuse me, motion is adopted. Next item is consideration of ordinance 26-300, which is the Court Enhancement Fund. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the second reading for this ordinance to eliminate the $50,000 minimum fund balance requirement. By adoption of this ordinance, that will allow us to use the Court Enhancement Fund further for court operations and relieve a little bit of the general fund. And that concludes that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from council? Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 26-300, excuse me, concerning the elimination of the Court Enhancement Fund? Minimum balance.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. But we have to do roll call because it's an ordinance. Ms. Clerk, would you like to do the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Allen,
Aye.
Councilmember Brainerd Watson,
Aye.
Councilmember Claire,
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier,
Aye.
Councilmember James,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faith,
Aye.
Mayor Shelf.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Okay. Next item is consideration of ordinance 26-298, which is the accessory structures allowances. Mr. Proch, do you have a presentation?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, good evening. This is the first present. No, that's not right. This is a little bit of a rehash of what we talked about this year. I was hopeful to, as this is the second reading and adoption hearing, to breeze through this. However, with this month, our P&Z has shifted priorities once again. And a part of this adoption has new language I'd like to at least present to you before a motion for adoption, if it is your pleasure to do so. So we've gone back and forth on this a few times, as you know. I think Carter and Sarah could give this presentation at this point as well.
We want to hear it again.
The change this month, I've highlighted all caps as a new addition. With the status of a number of violations in the city, and for a huge majority of those violations, there aren't concerns. I don't have 400 code cases in enforcement requests. These are existing conditions that have not caused any neighborly disputes for a large majority. As we've discussed, there's a few folks on Engage LP that like to find these situations, but it's not necessarily coming from an adjacent neighbor. So there was a request by P&Z to include the following language. And it's a rehash of number 3, but with a time and place restriction or allowance, I guess you could say. And that's accessory structures with a height greater than the height of the opaque perimeter fence, the wall, and 9 feet in height or less, constructed before July 16th, 2026, may have a 0-foot setback. The language you have in front of you as part of your packet accidentally says August 16th. I jumped a month. July 16th is just simply 30 days from tonight, the ratification period. So it was the request of our P&Z Commission to include this new language to essentially memorialize existing conditions that, again, far and wide have not caused any sort of neighborly strife. The rest of the language that's been previously discussed, again, talks about, the one-walled ramadas along the golf course for, those media, there's barbecue stations, and then the allowance of using the zoning district standards for lot coverage instead of the 25% or 500 square foot, which is a benefit to some of the larger lots, and then the concurrence, I guess you could say, with the IRC with a permanent exemption for 200 square feet instead of 120 square feet as our zoning code has today. So I know that was a bit brief. Again, this 9-foot was requested by Councilmember Frazier. We looked into it. We concur. A resident has requested the same 9-foot. Our commission, this is already outdated because last time we talked about this, it was no change, and now this time it is a change. I had the same resident that emailed me last time, again, emailed me after the packet came out this weekend to express disdain about allowing nonconformities to be memorialized in this way. However, that is the only resident feedback I've received on this newest version of the code. And our recommendation is to adopt 26-298 as presented, just to clarify that August, July typo, and happy to answer any questions.
I want to thank you for taking the issue by the bull by the horn, so to speak, and coming to a resolution that I think that I'm hopeful the council will support. I'm also glad that you went back to P and Z, and P and Z is now adopted a position that will not cause hundreds of our residents to have to make changes for a problem that really is not, it's not really a community-wide problem. So overall, I think that the process worked very well to come to this resolution at the end of the day. That it's good for the city and good for the residents. So are there other comments from council? If not, we'll move on to adopt this.
Vice Mayor,
Mr. Vice Mayor.
a question for the attorney. If we pass this as adopted and find out at some point we've made a mistake and want to go back and change it to a 1 or 2 or 3 foot setback or something, do we have a problem with these becoming then legal non-conforming uses and we can't address these 400 sheds?
It's that is a potential concern that you might have. If you pass it, you start functioning under this particular ordinance, then you may have some legal non-conforming uses.
Somehow we've made it through decades upon decades upon decades without having this been needed. So I'm not real concerned that we're going to need to change this in the future. Any other questions or comments, Councilman Allen?
I did have one question. So if it's July 16th, how are you going to memorialize everything on July 16th? What does that entail? So that you know whether it's before or after.
Councilmember Allen, the unfortunate situation and the reason we were able to find all of these situations is the snapshot that the county assessor takes in October, November of every year. So there is a chance that someone has purchased a shed this year that is not memorialized on that previous aerial image. I'm hopeful, as the sleeping dogs have lied, that this won't be a you need to show me your receipts or I need to come in your backyard sort of situation. We'll handle those as they come up. I don't have a better inkling of existing conditions other than October of last year to really make that determination.
Any other questions or comments? If not, excuse me, is there a motion to adopt ordinance 26-298 concerning accessory structure allowances?
So moved. Second.
And
As presented.
as presented, but not as in your packet because it presented a little bit differently than your packet, correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Those moved and seconded. Are there any further questions or discussion? If not, for all those in favor are going to vote by roll again because it's an ordinance. So, Ms. City Clerk.
Councilmember Ellen?
Aye.
Councilmember Brainerd Watson?
Aye.
Councilmember Claire?
Aye.
Councilmember, or excuse me, Vice Mayor Faith?
Aye.
Councilmember James?
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier?
Aye.
Mayor Joe?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay, motion is adopted. Excuse me. Next item is a consideration of ordinance 26-301 e-bikes and e-scooters.
Still me. Item 8G is ordinance 26-301 for the e-bikes. And I'll present a little too quickly. So again, we've already had our introduction and workshop on this. There have been changes since introduction to adoption. I know it's not our intent to have a hocus pocus sort of before and after change, but we involved the Avondale Police Department and very thankful for their assistant chief that helped form a little bit more of this language as they are our enforcement piece. The Avondale's version of this has not been adopted yet, so we're a little ahead of that. The Goodyear already has, so we were able to basically mold this to not only our neighbors, but our enforcement. Again, this should be familiar as far as the three classifications. It's a lot harder nowadays because most bikes have the option to change the governor to determine which classification you want. E-scooters, this is something along with the e-bikes is straight from state law, no changes on the local level for what classifies and defines these things. Something that has been added is Avondale has a motorized skateboard. You can put a motor on anything nowadays, I guess. So this is code language straight from Avondale just to address that sort of situation as well. Now, responsibilities, this has come up, and I want to just reiterate that our current code addresses this and will continue to address this as far as the parent's responsibility for any minor violating these sections of code. E-motorcycles, again, this is from your introduction in your work study session. It doesn't have pedals. It's essentially an unregistered, unlicensed, uninsured motor vehicle that is not permitted in any shape, way, or form on roads, sidewalks, or pathway. We have altered based on City of Avondale feedback and the court system that we use there to talk about the increasing violations and civil offenses. This is straight from them as far as how they see that proceeding through the court system. And as mentioned, this is just from them as well, what is reasonable and prudent as far as how they would address any sort of enforcement concerns. They want to make sure that there's something that will hold up in their court system / our court system. Now, the other thing I want to just bring attention to, the pathway does permit motor vehicles in the sense of a golf cart. The e-bikes, the e-scooters are permitted on these sorts of situations as well. Everything is 15 miles an hour. And it does mention as far as manner in which some of these faster, more maneuverable vehicles are handled, avoid reckless weaving, lifting, doing a wheelie. I don't think I've seen doing a wheelie spelled out as as specific as this, but that's what we have ordinances for. We've matched the city of Goodyear with the ages required for the type of devices, and then anyone 16 or under is required to have a helmet. Again, this is right from Goodyear, and knowing that our 3 schools are all along with One Boulevard, we want to make sure that we were consistent.
Can I ask real quick before you go from that page?
Yes.
Is that also the age to operate the scooter, or?
I apologize. Yes. So these first 3 bullets, council member, are the ages in which to operate. Okay. And then the bullet below is when a helmet applies for those situations. Thank you. Lighting and visibility, taillight, headlight, make sure that you are cognizant and visible. And our recommendation is to adopt 26301.
A quick question, as you went through, you talked about pathways, and I think you mentioned that we have, within our pathway visions, you have designated 15 miles an hour as a speed limit.
Mayor, yes, that has been historic, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned because
what I'm concerned about is it's not consistent with the other provision, reasonable and prudent.
I am wanted to show this photo is it's been 15 for
No, I don't have a problem with 15. It's just enforceability. If you change the other provision to reasonable and prudent so that it would be enforceable, the 15 mile an hour in the other portion of this that talks about pathways may not be enforceable if you leave it just 15 miles an hour.
Mayor, I'm going to do my best to be the city attorney and the police chief in this situation. I would assume, based on Title 28 of Arizona revised statutes, there is still a posted speed limit. However, there is language for motor vehicles as far as what is reasonable and prudent, as far as the flow of traffic. I don't think one counterpoints the other, but I'm going to look to the attorney to see if he has an opinion.
And I also think you can sign the pathway, whatever the speed limit is that you want. But I do understand the potential legal concern.
I don't think it makes it not enforceable, but what the report said originally was they made those changes because somebody in Avondale, and even the court system, was concerned about it. So that's the only reason for the question.
And Mayor, I don't know if this necessarily helps the question. What is currently in our code already had this very similar provision. We said at excessive speed or otherwise in an unsafe manner, reasonably expected to infringe upon the safety of such person or others. So the speed limit provisions and codes have been in place, as well as the language just stated. The Avondale is a rephrasing of language we already have.
All right.
But it's certainly worth, we can revisit and clarify as needed.
Okay,
Vice Mayor,
Mr. Vice Mayor.
thank you. I don't have a problem with the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit and the reasonable improvement. That is what happens on our highways and roads all the time anyway. Just because the road's posted at 50 miles an hour, studies may show that 60, 65 is reasonable and prudent. We've represented people that have been doing 15, 20 miles an hour over the posted limit, and they've been found not guilty by courts because they were still reasonable and prudent. They were maybe out someplace in the middle of nowhere with no cross traffic, nobody else around, and it was reasonable and prudent at the time. So using both of those just gives the officers a little bit of leeway if they see something that just looks bad.
Okay. I mean, just from personal experience, just this last weekend, I was driving my golf cart down Litchfield Road, and then it was going probably 25 to 28 miles an hour. And an e-bike was going on the sidewalk as fast or faster than I was driving my golf cart. And so on portions of the sidewalk, when you had no one, no one else was on the sidewalk, was not a particular problem. But as it came up to other people on the sidewalk, you start now having a really serious problem. So hopefully we can make it clear with our residents that, over 50 miles an hour on the sidewalk is just not reasonable prudent, because you don't know when that pedestrian is going to hop out on the sidewalk. You run into him and then you can hurt somebody pretty badly. So that's my main concern, is that we communicate to our residents that we're talking reasonable and prudent in portions of this, but we really want them to understand 15 miles an hour, whatever you're riding or driving on the pathways needs to be kept. The speed needs to be kept down. Councilman James.
Yes, sir. Just to piggyback on that, I think like when we lowered the speed limit on Camelback and Goodyear, maybe we didn't educate or provide the information to our citizens of this, that. And so we kind of dealt with some blowback, and then we had to do an ordinance. And so and I'm sure staff has a plan, but it would be extremely prudent to get this information out to the citizens. Hey, we just passed this ordinance. Here's the rules, just so you're clear, and jump in front of it proactively.
Yes, sir. It would need education.
Okay.
I think the argument is that the posted speed limit is the presumed safe. And we're certainly all familiar that you can make an argument for it, that we were acting reasonable under the circumstances. And just looking at the language that was struck from 13-3-1, it used to read at excessive speed or otherwise in an unsafe manner reasonably expected to infringe upon the safety of such other persons. That was struck out, I assume, at the request of Avondale. And then it added at a speed greater than approved under these circumstances, conditions and actual potential hazards that exist. So maybe that's a little more consistent with existing state statutes, and that's why they were comfortable with it. But certainly, you would want to have an educational component saying we post these things because we presume this is what is reasonable in our town.
It'd be a good idea, Mr. Porch, to look at our pathways and see how many of them still have those old signs. So I don't think you're going to find any pathways that are posted at 15, or at least not many. I don't remember.
Mayor, actually, there's a shockingly large amount of these, especially.
Where are they?
So there's one right in front of the Public Grounds building, actually, on behind St. Peter's, as you head north. And then there's a few more actually north of Wigwam at the Coles de Sac. It's French, so you have to go Coles de Sac. As you work from Fairway to La Lomont, the north side, as you go behind the houses on Old Litchfield Road, there's a few more of them actually at the end of
down inside, where on the pathway that goes in between the houses?
Yeah, that's correct. At the ends of the Coles de Sac.
Okay. I think you're going to need to get them more widely distributed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion to adopt ordinance 26-301 e-bikes and e-scooters consistent with the presentation tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just quick question. Is it legal for them to be operated like in a parking lot? I was over at Safeway the other day. Kid came flying by on an e-scooter. I know it wasn't Litchfield. It's Goodyear. But he was down low enough that there wasn't a single car that would have seen him and flying through fast enough that nobody could have responded. He actually then even drove into Safeway.
So,
Kind of private versus public property or whatnot. So.
You wonder what
But
this
we have
is
these more
inside Safeway.
Yeah. Safeway now as opposed to speed.
not really the safe way to go.
Yeah.
Grim shadow.
Well, all right, so it has been moved and seconded. The clerk will read the roll.
Councilmember Allen,
Aye.
Councilmember Bernard Watson,
Aye.
Councilmember Claire,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faith,
Aye.
Councilmember Fraser,
Aye.
Councilmember James.
Aye.
Mayor Schill.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Okay, next item of business is consideration of amendment to the lease agreement with the PW Litchfield Heritage Center. Paige, would you like to speak for the city manager?
Would you like? Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is to approve an amendment to the lease to the PW Litchfield Heritage Center due to some timelines that were out of their control. It's needed because the huge dirt stockpile has not been moved as quickly as we needed it to. So this will allow 5 months from utility stub fire access to complete the outside of the house.
Okay, any questions or comments from council? Councilor Franklin.
Is 5 months sufficient?
5 months, what was in the current agreement, sir? That's why I used that amount of time. I think it should be, because it's only for the outside, not the inside.
I think that was yes.
I caught it.
Any other questions or comments? That is there a motion to adopt the amendment presented in the packet to the lease with PW Litchfield Heritage Center?
So moved.
Second.
I get the second.
Okay. Third.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is a lease agreement with Litchfield Elementary School District. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is to approve a lease agreement with the school district for a temporary public grounds yard at an annual cost of $25,000. We apologize for the short review. I know I emailed it to you all earlier today. We just got it back from the school district. This is still pending the school district board vote. But we believe this is needed. It would be good to have the yard space, and when we start discussing the new public grounds building, we will need a place for everybody to go.
Okay, any questions from council? Is there a motion to approve the lease agreement with the Litchfield Elementary School District to lease a storage yard at an annual cost of $25,000?
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion's adopted. Next item is, excuse me, consideration of approving a contract with the city clerk effective July 1st, 2026. Rob, do you have anything you wish to say before we consider that your contract?
I will wait till executive session
Okay,
convenes.
all right. So I guess we will need an executive session on these two items then. Yes, does the council have questions for either of these contracts that we need to discuss in executive session? If
I don't have anything to add.
If not, then I would think we would not do an executive session.
Works for me.
Okay, you have anything you want to say in public you want to say? You don't have to speak, but I'm going to you have the opportunity.
No, I just want to say thank you. It's a pleasure working for this community and this council.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the new contract, the contract amendments with the city clerk effective July 1st, 2026?
So
moved.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, one of you is going to move and who's going to second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. You get to stay for another year.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Mr. City Manager, we're going to consider your contract. You can't speak, but would you like us to adjourn to executive session to hear you not speak?
Or that Kate speaking.
Squeak.
All right.
I'm good as presented.
Any questions concerning the contract with city manager, either that should be discussed in executive session? Not, is there a motion to approve the contract as presented?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the amendments to the city manager contract, again, effective July 1st, 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. But you get to stay for another year also. Let's see, executive sessions. Is there a need on any of these items? Because it doesn't appear to me.
Unless council has questions, sir.
I'm sorry?
Not unless council has questions.
Okay. All right. There's no reason to have an executive session, so this meeting is adjourned.
Congratulations, your congratulations.
We still have
We still have
a
a meeting.
meeting.
Good to have you.
That's right. We have a couple more.
Thank you, sir.
I think it was back until 8 o'clock last night.
Oh,
Except the link was broken. So I was in a hotel in Knoxville.
All right. Well, the special meeting of the city council to order. We're going to consider adopting resolution 26-609, which is the final budget for the city fiscal year 25. Ms. Peterson, do you have anything further to present on the budget?
No, Mayor, nothing further than what I already presented in the regular meeting.
All right, any questions from council concerning the budget? Is there a motion to adopt resolution 26-609, adopting the final budget for fiscal year 2027?
So moved.
For a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we're going to consider adoption of 26-610, which is the final budget for the SLIDs for 2027. Any presentation to make, Ms. Peterson?
No, Mayor, nothing additional to what I already presented in the regular meeting.
Any questions from council? Is there a motion to adopt resolution 26-610, SLID final budgets for 2027?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay,
any one of us.
somebody moved. Is there a second?
Second.
That's perfect. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, resolution 26-610 is adopted. No need for an executive session, so this meeting is adjourned.